And welcome back to another episode of Leading Crypto on this beautiful Fedness Day, November 2nd. Obviously, today is a major pivotal day many have been waiting for with bated breath over the last at least week here as we await the FOMC meeting decision this afternoon. Today, we're going to cover Bitcoin as always. We're going to take a look again at the S&P 500. We're going to overview Meta as well. We took a first glance at that last week, and we're going to cover that again today. Ethereum, Dogecoin, a couple of other altcoins as well, some order flow, open interest, and pretty much the usual sense in that case. So if you're interested in any of those, do be sure to stick through to the end of the video. Be sure to like and subscribe here to Leading Crypto on YouTube. Yesterday, we actually had a really great interview with Gareth Soloway, so be sure to give that a check if you haven't yet. He gives his opinion and thoughts and ideas based around the Fed decision this afternoon as well. Also as an overview on the assets at hand and the markets in general. And then tomorrow, just want to point out that we will have another great guest, Kenneth Suna, also known as Trade Invest Simplify. You can find him obviously on YouTube, TikTok as well, pretty much all across the other socials. We'll have him on tomorrow as a guest covering, essentially the stock market. Once again, kind of diving into his, picking his brain a little bit. This is somebody who's been basically, a active trader, investor, doing this for decades and living on dividends and, things of that nature, things that everybody basically seeks out to be. So as always, we're joined here by the imaginary magic internet money, as he's gone, and Max Burr Max over here coming from Dubai. We got a chilly 32 degrees going towards 82 degrees over in Kansas City, a beautiful Fort Myers day. And I imagine Dubai is just as beautiful. So number one question got to be on everybody's mind. Max, Magic, how are you guys doing today?
Good, man. Sorry, I had to step away. The dog was whining because the front door was open and someone was walking by. So I didn't want that coming through the chat. But otherwise, fantastic. Yeah, he's always work.
Of course, and yeah, I thought you were pulling the imaginary man, the staircase, like we were talking about earlier, but doing it soon. Yeah. Cool.
Well,
I will things over in Dubai, Max. What's that?
I don't know if anyone can hear me or not.
Oh, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All good.
We unmuted you today, so we're ready to hear that beautiful accent. All right.
So I'm just going to pull up the SPX. I'm going to cut everybody off. We'll end the conversation with a chart. Guys,
beautiful.
We've mentioned this before last week, coming into resistance here, gold pocket, 2-year key level on the SPX. What are you expecting to see? Resistance in this area. If you can break through it, you're also looking at your overall downtrend from the highs that you've been in for a year now, basically. Get out of that. Yeah, we can target up to this Q1 low at 41.14, 41.37, Q3 and POC at backfill. But you don't want to get too far ahead of yourselves. This is a pretty aggressive move off the lows. So looking at this, you're still looking at support coming in between that 2021 open and Q3 open, which we covered last night on the live stream as well. We did talk some Bitcoin last night. We were live for that. For the Asia session. It wasn't something that was normally publicly live, but I launched it on my channel too, and my channel was set to public while the other one was set to private. So everybody got a nice little treat there. It was pretty nonchalant, pretty low key. So what we're looking at is still just consolidation. You can see that it's got a triangular formation, so just a compression coming in. We do have a key level at 20,434.50. So this is actually a bi-monthly, called the 2M5 because it's the fifth set of that in the year. Coming at 20,434.50, which was the old Asia low from the other day, but now it gives that area some relevance from a mathematical standpoint. And you can see that on a 4-hour basis, we hadn't been closing below it. We've just been wicking below, setting in a smaller range, and now we are actually closing below it, but we are at support. So we want to see the break of this, where price is going to go. I think if you get the break of it to the upside, you might as well start looking back towards the gold pocket here and the overall range high somewhere around, that 20,900. And then that's really still the key area to get back above if you're going to see any continuation to the 21.8 and then 22, et cetera. So to the downside, though, very clear target. If we were to break this to the downside and continue down, I would look for a move into this zone here, which is, again, going to be the B-leg pivot of this butterfly harmonic that we've been watching. It's a natural target for it just because it's back testing the old range. That's how you need to look at the pivots here. This is just the range from below for consolidation. You break above, you've back tested it. So giving this level up, it puts you below your monthly average. It puts you below that pivot. And from there, we're expecting to probably come down and start filling in some of these levels below us. Most notably, when you have something like this, you can do one of two ways. You can use range targets, which we like to combine with other things, or you can use the pivots. So you would say that if you're breaking below this B pivot, your next target's going to be the C pivot, meaning you're going to take these lows potentially. I like to do the gold pocket, just hide a low instead in lieu of that, because I like to get as many take profits in as possible. And this would be an area of interest for us right here in the gold pocket. And filling that October inefficiency also would be taking all of these guys out that got in on this move. As you can see, this is just one giant move up. So anyone that's, got in right here is in profit, which the market doesn't always like that. So, if we start moving down, this is going to be that key zone that we have to see holding. If not, you can see structurally just where you're going. So not much has changed over the past couple days because, well, we're all waiting on the Fed, 2 p.m. Eastern today. The only other one we're going to touch on was we've been talking about Meta a little bit. So we will talk a little bit about Meta. Again, you are at support here at $93. There is, some support. It's just chopping around it, but you're not really getting that push. I think that's kind of stale right now, just because, just like Bitcoin, these tech companies are going to be probably trading much the same, where money is waiting to see if there's going to be like a pivot or a pause, if something positive's coming. Obviously, jobs came out pretty heavy, so that's not exactly a great sign. But we'll see what they say today. The commentary is probably going to be the most important part. But $72 to me is one of those where I'm like, if you're buying into this because you think it's a really great opportunity, which I'm not arguing that it isn't. I think it's a company that'll be there, stand the test of time. You have to be prepared. I think we were speaking with Gareth. He said, you have to figure out where your max loss is. So meaning, where's your invalidation? Like, how much are you willing to risk on this investment or trade potentially? And to me, I think you almost have to be looking and saying this whole zone right here, because a lot of times when you get capitulation or you get a big move down, it's not as simple as just one level. Sometimes it is, sometimes in this case, I think it's more of a zone, and down to $70 is something you have to consider. But that would be the back half of, the move down. And if you look at this on a higher time frame, that puts you 80+% down at that level, right around the 80%, 85% region. So it would make sense for that to come down here. You have this nice base that you set up, and you would be looking at this to potentially form a larger structure at that time. Anything below $72, and I think the entire economy is probably in shambles at that point. I think that would be pretty bad, but that's really all I've got. Pretty simple stuff today, short and sweet, just like me.
Beautiful, sir. Max, you got anything to go? Nice.
Dude, straight in there. So really quick, to be honest, today, because there's just not been the volume there at all. So you can see here, just literally by looking at the color gradient, you can see that the majority of the day has been a very pale color, which means, really low volume. Granted, you have had a couple volume spikes, but they've been, hours apart. And it's made today in particular, obviously for you guys, it's been overnight, very difficult to trade, rather untradeable, because it's not really giving you the normal signals that you'd get with order flow when there's volume in the charts. We have had some quick wicks down, but they've been very untelling. The reason being is, for example, this one that occurred like 2 hours ago at the New York pre-markets was a fast wick down and then a fast wick up. Now, the open interest, is a stagnant candle, which, is position changing hands. But actually what it was, if you go into an even lower time frame, it was just a load of longs closing, and then some people start to buy the minor swing failure pan that occurred. So it really doesn't give you anything to exactly trade off. The only trade that I'm currently looking for right now is a swing fail of, if I go here, of the current, well, it's actually the previous day low, as well as all of the lows for today. So go into this liquidity box. This daily has been tapped. It was tapped here. but I'd be looking for, I've drawn it as more like a box. That's the only trade that I'm really looking for from where we currently are. Obviously, with the FOMC coming up, it's, if you're going to take a trade before, it has to be a scalp. So it really will be a scalp. Anything before that. But I don't really have a short setup where we are, to be honest with you. Really don't want to be shorting down where we are. I would want to be shorting up here, which I imagine, going off what's happened pretty much every time we've had a bit of news such as this come out, you get a very fast move to the upside and then a very fast move to the downside that just, continues down. That's how it's kind of been the story the past, however many times it's happened. So I'm kind of expecting that to occur, but we'll have to see. But yeah, unfortunately, I've really not got much to say in the order flow today. So apologies, everyone.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, just touching on that too with, we last week on Thursday, right, we were going into the weekend and we were talking about this exact situation where that was the day, I believe, when the market was really pushing. We were hitting 21K on Bitcoin. Obviously everything else was pushing higher. And we were talking about the idea that we were just probably going to range it out until this meeting. And it's just interesting to see how that's played out now. You got this really nice little, almost like anybody looking at Bitcoin is going to be looking at, this is like a pennant, right? Like looking for this to break out, which, very well could, I suppose. But the timing of this is, coming to an apex right as we hit this meeting today, which I just think is always so interesting how the news and everything aligns up with the, what the charts have to say, I suppose. But yeah, so big move coming in today. And just as always, it's really important to just kind of have, a plan in place. And if that's not something that you understand, then definitely, I guess, sit this one out. I see a lot of people doing that, right? Like many people tend to take these days off, I guess you could say, if you don't, handle the quick volatility well. If you don't have your validations set and your areas in mind, you obviously want to be pretty active around that time when the meeting starts going down, and it's going to start moving the price action. Presetting is probably not the most ideal situation in days like today, because like Max said, you get some quick moves up, quick moves down, and sometimes they go a lot further than you expect. One move, I was trying to think about where it was. It was on Bitcoin, and it was one of the Fed hikes. It was when we pierced down to it wasn't the first drop to 18 or 17.5, obviously, but it was the next one down. I think it was right after we were at 25,000, but we went all the way down, basically just took the low. Everybody panicked. And in the same breath, we just shot up to like 22,000 in a couple of, hours, essentially. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Looking at Ethereum, really once again, it's gotten to that point where the market has literally been in the same position for, relatively for the same, at least since Monday, right? So 2 days in a row, we've pretty much been in the same position. So if you're in the group, obviously we've, prepared everybody for the areas and levels that, we'll be paying attention for. Obviously, like we said, we're going to be live trading today at 2 p.m. in the Leading Crypto Discord server. If you're interested in becoming a member, the information is below in the info box. But yeah, we've, came up at the time. This was an untapped quarterly. Obviously, we've reclaimed that. Looking at this just in a couple of levels, same areas I've been looking for a while, right? We got the untapped weekly up here, 1767, essentially. On a way, ways away, start losing this 1221 region. We got the untapped daily down here to 1034. And then just kind of taking a look at this as far as, some range data. It's like, where did we come up and hit our head at pretty much? And it was essentially coming up right here to this high time frame range, right? This is the overall value area high, basically rotated it, quite nicely from the point of control. You can see how the untapped daily down below is exactly where the value area low does come in. Not saying that we have to get there by any means, but if you do start losing this region, it's something to be aware of for sure. But otherwise, really just looking to essentially, claim 1645, basically come up and take this high, start closing 4 hours above that region. Then we can challenge into this weekly on ETH, right? And then from there, you got a couple of other areas above us. We got the overall range here, right? This was our big fresh entries area right here between this point of control and this golden pocket. If you had missed the area of opportunity over here, when we were climbing up to this region right here, it was very, not obvious, I'd say, but you obviously just want to look for a pullback, right? If you missed an area of opportunity such as this, because you're going to come back to some degree, get a pullback, and this was just the best entry in my opinion, right? So came back, we had several opportunities here in this region, and from here, just really looking to continue on and upward and really rotate this range in full. Do we get a pullback first back down to this $1,400 region, kind of back test these highs here before we do that is the question, right? So, and a quick move down, quick move up, very well could be in the cards today. So going to be a pretty fun afternoon, I feel. Or maybe it's not going to be anything. Everybody keeps saying that, actually. So maybe it's going to be uneventful as hell and we just sit sideways for another couple weeks. that'd be
imagine they don't really say too much.
Yeah.
I think there is a chance, though, that they don't say anything too devastating, just because I think they know at this point with the jobs report, everyone's kind of like, man, if he says anything bad, we're going to send this thing to the seller. So I do think they take that into account, and they'll come out, I wouldn't say neutral by any means, but I do think that, the language might be a little softer than what they've used in the past, but we'll see. That's all speculation, so we won't know. I don't know what Jerome Powell's going to say.
Right.
But just a guess.
We didn't have a meeting, last month? Was that the only one we basically glazed over? No October, right? We had one in September, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
If you look, this is like almost like watching the Super Bowl or people getting prepared for, it's like the most heavily, stock market, crypto market,
well, with midterms
housing market
too. It's like not just that, like midterms coming up, a lot of times they go with I wouldn't say a softer tone, but they go with more of they're giving less information tone. They're still going to answer questions and there's still going to be commentary, but a lot of times they do take a hands-off approach-ish, give or take, they don't want to influence the elections, which I think it's a little bit late for that. I think the damage is already done. I don't think it's going to go well. I think there is a red wave probably this year in the midterm, which bodes well for markets traditionally. So, it is what it is there.
Gotta love a red wave. What's so funny is when I look through Twitter or any of the social media platforms right now, even our thumbnail, whatever, when you get these CPI days and these FOMC meetings, it's like the first day of school when you're on Facebook and you got everybody putting up their pictures of their kids. And it's just like this. You won't even have to watch the meeting today because instantly you'll know exactly what goes down if you just pull up Twitter for 5 seconds, because 1,000 posts will be put out there. It's just always a good time. Cam Grill number 3.
I had a question. Is Max going to participate in No Shave November here?
Already on, mate.
You're already on it? You haven't shaved your whole life,
This is 6 months ago.
I was going to say, there's probably no shave year.
If I do it, I'll look I'll look so weird. It'll just be specs here, couple whiskers here. It'll just be embarrassing. It's rough,
I want
let me
to
tell
see
you.
it.
All right. You've already got a beard, so it's not like I can say if you'll do it, I'll do it.
I was born with this, man. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I turned 23 years old, and then all of a sudden, full beard. Went from just getting sideburns to it was in. So yeah,
still
maybe that's on your horizon.
It's coming.
Maybe just after Christmas, it's just going to come out like that.
When Bitcoin resolves this range, Max is going to get a beard. It's just going to pop out.
There you go. That's never it is then.
We're going to 10K herd.
Sideways forever.
Sideways forever. That's the real Max pain.
What would we call that? Codename Brazil.
Codename Brazil. Yeah. I'm liking that more and more every day. All right, and what else did we talk about earlier? I know we're going to talk about Doge. The whole market is just essentially we've talked about the same thing just over and over here, but why not? So good old Doge, right? Very technical area here, right? As we basically broke back into this range, had a nice volume target, got a weekly area up here, got the SFP. And for me, looking for a pullback now, right? So we were looking for this area for several weeks, right? Challenged it into this region here, got a nice TP right into the daily. Stop loss moved up to the entry. Obviously protected yourself from this downfall here. Broke back above. Essentially, we got back above the quarterly pivot right here. So this was an actual, this was the better entry that we were talking about in the group. But if you missed that and you were looking for a little bit more of confirmation, coming into reclaiming this range was the opportunity. Very well was, it can be viewed, I suppose, as chasing a green candle in the sense, because you're obviously looking into this after it's already rallied pretty substantially. But if you have your stop loss, a trading plan, and some risk tolerance and management in place, this should have been a pretty simple trade for anybody. And this is just on spot idea, right? This is without leverage, just from that low to the point of control, not even the weekly, right? Just this was the main target, honestly. 70% move. If you picked it up from the quarterly pivot, right? Let's see where that was. Right there. So that was right here at 0.069, right? You got the reclaim of that, and then basically coming back into this range. You obviously had a nicer opportunity there, but either way, we were looking for this one, clear as day. And now in the short term, looking for a pullback, right? Just like anything else, rallied about 180%, I think, off the low here, 185%. So possible 40% pullback is in the cards here for Doge, right? So not a guarantee by any means. We do have an untapped monthly key level comes in right here. Quarterly VWAP scooting up around that region as well, right around 11 cents. Right now we're at 13. So far, the pullback from the high, you're talking about a 20% is already underway. So it's a pretty big area right there, right? So blindly buying, as this is coming into these regions after a pump like that, is not usually the best idea. Can we go higher over time? Yes. But short term, just like this, right? You would have protected yourself from a 40% pullback over time. And this took a few weeks to play out. So holding that underwater for, several weeks instead of, managing into other projects or, depending on how you're, managing your assets, wouldn't have been the best play. But yeah, so that's Doge, right? Still looking, my main area is honestly coming back to this golden pocket. You got the daily level back here as well, but not to be overlooked, or not to overlook this untapped monthly. And we'll see, the reaction from that. But losing this region, so coming down, lose 11 cents, I would imagine we're coming all the way back down to 0.087. And on the flip side, start living above this point of control. So start closing, 4-hour daily candle, 14 cents, basically 14.01. And then we can start challenging up probably back into the range high here at 18 cents and then some. Obviously, we'll update after that. And yeah, maybe all we got today, boys. It's really just like we said, like the market's pretty much just holding their breath. It's incredible actually to see how the things just play out like this, where the timing of 2 p.m. Eastern is when the market's probably going to break. So be prepared for that in whatever fashion. If you've been in positions like something like Doge, for example, right? You gotta, in my opinion, hopefully you've taken profits on the way up. That was a pretty big move, 70% just in the short term, and then 130 to 180 depending on when you were getting in. Once again, without even any leverage, things like that. You may want to consider taking some off the table or putting a stop loss in place. Granted, kind of getting back to how Magic alluded to, we could start pulling back a little bit with Bitcoin, stopping out those trailing stop losses, things like that before the move, continues up if it does. So just exciting times across the board. All right. Got some questions. Anything looking in here? Chris said, sweet specs.
We got the old school.
They're only blue light. I'm not actually blind.
He said
H
H
bar
bar
is
is actually green. So
that's
always
good.
with the H bar. Always with the H bar, at least for the next 5 minutes. I didn't check it, but yeah. I don't know. Right now, I'm a little hands off going into the meeting. Unless you guys want to join me, we'll take a $50 raffle. We'll just max bid whatever level's most popular, and we'll see what happens.
I'm with it. I am with it. All right, perfect. Well, honestly, short and sweet. Nothing wrong with that today. So, like we said, we're going to be live trading this event today in the Leading Crypto Discord server. So, if you're interested in joining, Information to do so is in our description box below. Be sure to check out once again our interview with Gareth yesterday. It was a really great episode. Magic Internet Money and myself, we were with him on that. So always great to kind of pick the mind of others in the space, especially someone with a lot of experience in both traditional and crypto markets. And then don't forget, tomorrow we will have another great guest, Kenneth Suna from Trade Invest Simplify, on with us in the morning show. That's all we got for today. If you guys enjoyed this content, please be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.